Can you believe that it has been 263 days since the last Nintendo Direct? The last Nintendo Direct aired on September 14th of 2023, and that was the last general Direct we would get. Yes, we got one in February this year, but it was a partner showcase which didn't reveal any first-party Nintendo games. So yes, it's been since the end of last year, so clearly we are due for a Direct, and thankfully we do know that there is a Direct coming this month because Nintendo had pretty much come out and announced it, that yes, there's a Direct coming, and yes, there would be news on Switch 2 sometime in the fiscal year. So there's a lot of things that we can get ready to get revealed, and it's a very exciting time right now to be a Nintendo fan, because guess what? We are in the month of June. And it's not one of those weird Junes where we don't know if Nintendo's going to have an event or not, because there's been lots of June months where Nintendo just kind of skips it or maybe does something late in July that's a little smaller ever since the absence of E3. But with Nintendo confirming that there's something happening in June, that we will in fact be getting a Nintendo Direct, there's a lot of stuff to be hype about and excited, especially considering the fact that the only game now left to release this year is Luigi's Mansion 2, which is a old game, a game that came out on a 3DS, being technically, it's under remake, I believe, but to me, it still just looks like a remaster. With all the hype built up around this month and the leaks and rumors and code names for apparently games that Nintendo's working on right now coming out, there's a lot of things that we could end up expecting from this show. Now, the one thing Nintendo did state is that there would be no news of Switch 2, and this is something that we do have to take in consideration, even though Nintendo did state no information on Switch 2, because I still am a firm believer that just because Nintendo doesn't talk about the console itself doesn't mean Nintendo can't show off the next huge game to look forward to that could be releasing on the new console, or maybe a cross-release on the current and new console the same way Breath of the Wild was. So even though we're at the end of the current Switch lifecycle, there's still a lot to be excited about and potential for there to be lots of new announcements from Nintendo, even though we are at the end of a lifecycle from a console. So what exactly can we be hype about, and why is this time more than ever one of the most exciting times for Nintendo? Well, I'm going to explain to you today. Real quick before we get started, guys, look at how close we are to 300,000 subscribers. You guys can very well make it happen super soon by just leaving a like and subscribing. It goes a long way. Alright, enough of that, let's jump into the video. So really, one of two things could happen here. This Nintendo Direct could just be a very laid-back one, with just some small announcements, maybe one or two new titles that are very small, like a Mario Party or another spin-off that we're not expecting, and really just an ease into the holiday season, where most of the hype for this year is going to be revolved around Switch 2, where they'll have a big presentation maybe a couple months after this June Nintendo Direct, around the August or September timeframe. Or we could just get a massive Nintendo Direct with tons of new surprises and games for this year, including some big surprises for the future that could really lay out what to expect, at least for the early couple of months of Switch 2. It's really hard to tell where Nintendo's going to go here, and once again, I'm not saying they're talking about Switch 2, clearly Nintendo is not touching Switch 2, but games could very well happen. And I said this 1,000 times and I'll say it again, if Nintendo really is going to have a big 3D Mario as a launch title, or even Mario Kart, or even Metroid Prime 4, I feel like they have to show it off very soon. If Switch 2 is coming out in March, we are really getting down in the months to reveal a huge AAA Mario game, especially if it's as big as what people are saying, being the first ever fully open world Mario. Nintendo really doesn't have anything huge to look forward to, and the last big game that you could say we had to really look forward to in the future was Super Mario Bros. Wonder last year in September. Now we're just sitting here kind of waiting to see what the next big reveal is going to be, and there's nothing super exciting in the future, and we haven't had anything this whole entire year, and for them to go through this June Nintendo Direct and still not have a big title ready for us would be kind of weird. Now maybe Nintendo does have one last huge Switch game, and once again, the only thing that I could possibly think of is somehow if Metroid Prime 4 is ready, which it's not going to happen. So that leaves one other thing in my mind, and that's like a Donkey Kong game, because I really don't know what else Nintendo could have in store for us, because everything else would be something huge for the next console, like the next 3D Mario, the next Mario Kart, the next Splatoon. You know, it just feels like it's not going to be anything coming to current Switch. I'm not trying to heighten your expectations and say definitely expect some type of big 3D Mario at the end of the show or something like that, but I feel like they would want to end the show with something that's somewhat massive. Now, Now, it doesn't mean Nintendo can't just end the show with another remake or remaster. They've done it multiple times. In fact, they just did it with Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for the most recent Nintendo Direct. Of course, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is one of those games that I feel like definitely could make the cut for a final trailer because it's just so huge, so many people. I mean, it's just different. It's not just a remake. It's a game that changes everything. It changes what Paper Mario has been for the last like 10 years, and it completely changes what the future could be by bringing back a fan favorite. So unless there's some type of remake or remaster that could also do that, maybe like Kid Icarus, I don't even think that alone would be enough for like a huge final reveal. So what could be that last reveal? Sorry, in my head, I just still think it has to be some type of big Switch 2 game that they just don't tell us it's a Switch 2 game. Just a huge reveal trailer of the next Mario or Mario Kart and just say 2025. So I'm sorry to hype you up over something that might not happen, but I'm just gonna say it. There could be a chance that literally in the next couple of weeks we could finally be seeing the next huge 3D Mario or Mario Kart. And if it doesn't happen, it's fine, because we'll probably get a presentation for Switch 2 very soon, revealing it there, because it has to be revealed soon if it's coming out in March. Enough about the special surprises about what could happen, but let's talk about what is probably going to happen, which is going to be lots of smaller things that can still be very exciting. There is probably room for tons of more remakes and remasters, and maybe even a couple of ports that we are not expecting and maybe are expecting. And I know a lot of people are probably tired of these. You know, I can already read the comments under past videos of you guys saying, man, more remakes, more remasters, more ports, and trust me, I know, and I'd be probably very upset if it wasn't for the inevitable Switch 2 big banger announcements coming probably very soon. This is the end of a console's life cycle, and if you were there in the Wii U days, you'd be praising what Nintendo's doing right now, because we had nothing back then besides Paper Mario Color Splash, and right now, we have the Thousand Year Door, plus tons of other remakes and remasters, so there's definitely stuff to play and to look forward to, and yes, Nintendo might be using our nostalgia in order to hook us onto some upcoming games, but yeah, I think there could be some really fun remakes and remasters to look forward to coming out of this Nintendo Direct. I mean, even some smaller titles that, you know, could definitely carry us over. There's a very good chance that we're going to get something Zelda related, because we normally get some type of project every single year, whether it's a spin-off, a small remake, a remaster, or a port or something, or whether it's a new title. So I am definitely thinking Zelda something is happening, and the rumors are surrounding this franchise are saying that yes, we are going to get Zelda something. So we can look forward to that, because there's a lot of classic games like Link Between Worlds, maybe even a remake of Link to the Past, which is already Link Between Worlds, so just give us Link Between Worlds again. Maybe something along the lines of the Oracle games, like Oracles of Seasons and Ages, or maybe even the Wind Waker Twilight Princess remasters, or just ports that we're asking for from the Wii U would be greatly appreciated. So there's a lot on the table for Nintendo and Zelda during this Nintendo Direct. I also want to say it's a given that we'll finally see Metroid Prime 2 or 3 or maybe both, considering the fact that it's been a while since Metroid Prime Remaster originally released back last year in the beginning. It's time for us to get Prime 2 and 3, especially if we're getting closer and closer to Prime 4, and if we don't, I think Prime 4 might be just as far away as it's ever been, which would be very disappointing. So I'm definitely expecting something from Metroid. There's also been lots of Mario RPG polls, and after bringing back Mario RPG and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the last thing to do is maybe have a new Mario & Luigi game, or maybe even a collection pack would be really cool to revive the series. Even though Alpha Dream went bankrupt, there could still be a chance of revival. As far as ports coming over from the Wii U, there's been rumors, or I guess some actual trademark renewals for games like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, and even the Stretch Mode series, which could be making a return on Nintendo Switch, which is pretty cool. And also, why not throw in Xenoblade Chronicles X, considering the fact it's the only Xenoblade game now not on Nintendo Switch, and it's one that a lot of fans hold near and dear and still love with the open world and the mech combat. It's been over 8 years since Star Fox Zero, so we could possibly see this game again, or what I really hope it being, a brand new Star Fox experience. There's even now rumors suggesting that the GameCube title, Star Fox Assault, not Command, is actually getting a remaster or remake itself as well, which would be pretty cool to see return, because to me, it's definitely one of my favorite Star Fox games. The multiplayer is just so much fun in that game. Also, tons of 3DS titles we could still see, like the Kirby games, with Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot, and even Kid Icarus Uprising Uprising would be really great to see return on Nintendo Switch, and especially Kid Icarus Uprising. I mean, that one I'm just hoping for so much. We already talked about The Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, and I think that one would be a great option as well, but I'm still holding out for my boy Pit. If you're wondering why I'm talking about 3DS games so much, there has been a recent rumor suggesting that we are going to be getting a GameCube title and a 3DS title before the end of the year, or at least the end of the fiscal year, which is pretty interesting, and that could be anything. I'm really hoping for F-Zero GX. I think it's time after having the, Nintendo Switch Online F-Zero game, which is pretty cool, and maybe one of the 3DS games already mentioned would be fine. We also can't forget about the Fire Emblem remake, apparently of Genealogy of the Holy War, which has been in the works for a very long time, because we've been hearing about this one seriously for years now. I think it's almost time, or it's probably about time for this to be revealed. With even all those remakes, remasters, and ports to be excited for, there's still room for some even new things that we weren't even expecting. Maybe something along the lines of Mario Party, like I stated earlier in this video. We're definitely due for another one of those, or definitely another Mario sports title. Hopefully they don't mess it up like they have pretty much every other sports title on the Switch, and hopefully it actually launches with tons of content, and we don't have to wait for quote-unquote free updates for just more of the game. I'm really hoping for Mario Baseball or Basketball, which makes the most sense, but maybe even something new like Mario Football. American football, that is. HAL Labs is constantly cooking something new, and whether it's a remake, remaster, port, or small title, there's always something to expect from this company, and I really am expecting something for them this year as well. Whether it is another small eShop title, or something else like a remake, remaster, or port, or maybe even something from Rhythm Heaven! Yes, it's been forever since we've seen a Rhythm Heaven game since Mega Mix on the 3DS, so maybe this could be the direct we get a new Rhythm Heaven. I feel like now is the time better than ever. Yes, whether we do get a new Donkey Kong Metroid Prime 4 look, or maybe even a look at the very first game for Switch 2, I think this Nintendo Direct is going to be great. Even if we don't get all those things, instead we just get remakes, remasters, ports, and some small stuff to hold us out for the rest of the year, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this Direct, mostly because of the unknown. We have no clue what this could be. Considering the fact that Luigi's Mansion 2 is the only thing that we know about right now, and it's coming out this month in a couple of weeks, I think it's safe to say that Nintendo's got a lot of stuff to announce for us. But let me know in the comments down below what you're expecting from this Nintendo Direct, and how hype are you? With 10 being the most hype and 1 being the least hype, how hype are you for this Nintendo Direct? If you're hype at all, stop what you're doing and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.